Yeah, same thing. These fit nice and snuggy and sound great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm getting no monitoring of myself, so we're just doing room noise for me. But you sound amazing, Mike.
Welcome to this episode of the Cool Dad Shirt Podcast.
Season 2, baby.
All that and more. Thank you. Well, I just finished some absolutely delicious Italian wedding soup that my wife made. That's why I'm a little late.
That's a good reason to not show up on time.
It was honestly the best batch she's ever made.
Nice.
So incredibly delicious.
How does she keep getting better and better? That's the question.
I ask her and myself that question every day.
Well, you are truly blessed, my friend.
It was a good soup.
Speaking of food, so, we had a Bruegger's bagel shop right toward the end of my road. You remember that? We lived down in Albany.
I remember the Bruegger's bagel. I don't know what street it was on. It was down on the corner of, might have
Madison
been Washington.
And Western.
Yeah,
it's where Albany, all those streets come together.
Yeah. I used to go there all the time.
That's about as good a bagel as you can get here in upstate New York. And about a year and a half ago or so, the one at the end of my street closed. And so there's not one near my house. Another place opened. It's a great little cafe, but their bagels just don't compare. And I tried another place in Clifton Park, and it ain't happening. So today I decided to make my own bagels. I had some pizza dough in the fridge, and I looked up online, this internet thing, gave me some good advice about how to make bagels from pizza dough. Dude, it's super easy. And they came out fantastic.
Did you boil them first?
You have to boil them first.
Yes. I know some people that skip that step.
Yeah, that's just round bread. That's not a bagel.
Yeah, you got to boil them.
Yeah, you got to boil them. It came out great. Yeah, they're super tasty. So I think I'm making my own bagels going forward.
It's an interesting trend, I think, because just the other day, there's a knock at the door, and it's one of my younger daughter's friends, and she dropped off, 6 or 7 bagels that she had just finished making herself at home.
Am I on the cutting edge of a trend? That never happens.
You are single-handedly spearheading this trend, Rich.
I swerved right into it. Who knew?
You are a social media bagel-making influencer right now.
I am. Look for photos on our Instagram
Look for me on TikTok and Instagram. Speaking of food, I witnessed something rather amazing the other day. I walked into the kitchen and noticed my daughter at the counter, and she had all the leftover Chinese food on the counter, and she was scraping all the meat off the spare ribs. I'm already curious at this point, so I'm just kind of watching and pretending not to notice because I don't want her to stop or change what she's doing. I don't want her to modify anything. Because this has already got my interest. So she's scraping all the meat off the rib bones into a pile. And then she took a whole bunch of the white rice. And then she went in the refrigerator and she got a tortilla wrap, and took the tortilla wrap out, put all the rib meat on it and the rice, put it in the microwave, heated it up. And then when it came out, she rolled it up like a burrito.
Wow.
That's what she ate.
Super creative and tasty, I'm sure.
I guess so. I think it combines her 2 favorite foods, Chinese food and Mexican. So it was like a Chinese burrito.
Tell me she came up with a name for it.
She didn't come up with a name. I'm going to have to ask her to name it.
Super cool. We like creativity. Get back to me in the next episode with the name we decided on.
Yeah, I will. I got to see if she put any sauce on it. I mean, would you go with a duck sauce or a hot sauce at that point?
Oh, that's a good question. You got both platforms there. Which direction do you embellish with? Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to beat this topic to death.
Please go on.
I do have one more food-related item that I wanted to bring up.
Hit me.
And you are a great person to ask because you are a photographer, and I know you enjoy taking pictures and you take some amazing photos. I'm wondering if this is just a female thing, but I noticed that my wife and kids, my sister-in-law, they all love taking pictures of their food before they eat it, especially when they're at a restaurant. Not so much at home. If they make something like tonight, my wife was photographing her soup, and rightfully so. It was a delicious meal. But even when we go out to dinner, a lot of times when the food comes out, the first thing they all insist on doing before anybody even lifts a fork is taking a photo of everybody's food. Do you experience this?
I'm slightly guilty. So I'm going to show you. Here's the bagels here's a picture of the bagels I made today.
I feel like I set you up for this. It's
Look at
probably
them, though. They look amazing, don't they?
Listen, I am not disputing how incredible those look. I'm just asking a question, and you've answered it.
Okay, well, so
how about at a restaurant? Do you take photos of your food at a restaurant?
As a rule of photographing food, I generally don't do that unless it's something spectacular with amazing lighting, where I moved as a photographer, not as somebody who wants to post their food on social media. So how's that for a half-assed answer?
So something out of the ordinary at a restaurant, you'll potentially photograph.
Yeah, if it's quite a creation with good lighting, and by good lighting, I mean, 3,000 Kelvin. We've talked about this before. Which is flattering to people, food, and coffee. People, please, 3,000 K.
You're in a very authentic, dim-lighted Italian restaurant, and you're out there with your light meter making adjustments. Just what they want to see.
Yeah, if you bring me French fries in 5,500K lighting on a greasy napkin, I'm not going to photograph it.
So that was it for my food-related items, but it was a great photo of those bagels.
Thank you. Awesome.
And they came out okay with the pizza dough, huh?
No, they came out really good. So there's just a couple modifications I'm going to make. The pan I baked them on is step 2. I did not grease sufficiently. It was a little bit of effort getting them off the pan. But man, they came out good. They were a little smaller than I expected. So I'm going to make them a little bit bigger and grease the pan slightly more after the boiling and the baking. So
will you branch out and maybe make some pumpernickel?
Well, so who knows what is next, Mike? So yeah, I went with the pizza dough because it was easy, but my own dough is probably what's next.
Yeah, I enjoy making dough.
I don't know that I've ever seen pumpernickel flour anywhere. I'm sure you can get it, but
you got all those fancy grocery stores up there in that Capital District area.
We got it all in Albany. Yes.
I'm sure there's a Price Chopper up there somewhere with some pumpernickel flour.
It's a very low glycemic flour, by the way. It's very healthy for you.
Yeah, it's good. You might have to find maybe a more exotic grocery store. I don't know, perhaps a Whole Food or something maybe, or niche.
And by fancy, you mean expensive.
I do mean expensive. Yeah. I don't know if a Price Chopper, if there's a lot of pumpernickel flour flying off the shelves of Price Chopper.
Well, I'll take a stab at it, and I'll post way more photos of my bagel experiment.
Excellent. We all look forward, Rich.
So I kind of want to talk about recurring dreams. Do you ever have recurring dreams?
You had mentioned this to me, and I had wished I had time to do some homework. The short answer is I'm already working on a long answer. In many months, I have not been able to recall any dreams, and I don't know if it's because I don't get enough sleep. What do you got? You have a reoccurring dream? That's
So yeah, I think there's actually a way you can coach yourself to remember your dreams better. I've read about that. I don't have any details for you. We can look that up.
Yeah.
If you want to try to get better. But I have dreams once in a while that pop up that seemingly have familiarity. But the one that pops up, and dude, this goes back, I'm thinking 30 something years, and I get it maybe once a year. It's very infrequently. And I'm driving in a car and I'm going up a hill, and the hill keeps getting steeper and steeper and steeper. And I start to panic because it feels like the car is going to tilt backwards and fall. And then I wake up.
Wow.
It's the same dream, the same car on the same street. Psychologists will have a field day with this. Send their comments in and what's going on with me. But that pops up again once or twice a year in the past 3 decades. It's very strange.
Have you ever been to San Francisco?
Briefly, and I didn't drive. So.
You did not drive?
No.
Many years ago, I had a phase where I would actually write down many of my dreams. And maybe if I look through the papers, maybe there's something in there that I noted about a reoccurring dream, but lately I can't seem to remember any.
You have to fire that through Power BI and see what the trends are for.
I do remember one particular dream that was probably one of the most fascinating and greatest dreams that I ever had. It was me floating in the air a few hundred feet above the Hudson River, standing up jumping rope
You were jumping rope while suspended.
and just very slowly floating down the same path as the Hudson River.
And you were propelled by the spinning rope?
Wind,
Seemingly?
the spinning of, the wind, the spinning of the rope. It was very gentle and it was very calming. It was a very calming dream.
That's
And
fascinating.
I was looking down. I was way above boats and ships.
But yeah, very peaceful and relaxing.
Very peaceful. I was completely unnoticed.
So do you now jump rope to meditate and clear your head?
I haven't jumped rope since that dream.
Oh, maybe you should.
That was the last time I jumped rope.
Virtually.
I didn't want to wreck the dream. It was a great one. I got a pet peeve to talk about.
Oh, break it on.
We have one of those kitchen garbage pails, and the ones nowadays, they tuck neatly inside a cabinet, right? But they're small, and you can't get a lot of garbage in it. So I explained to everybody over and over and over again, please try to, crush things down or squish them or tear them. And every weekend I go in there, there's 2 cereal boxes, not even folded. The worst are the paper grocery bags that they get. No one folds them. They just ball them up and jam them in there. I go in there the other day. I open it up. The thing, I can't even slide it out from the cabinet because it's all jammed up. And there is a giant shoebox jammed in there. So there was like a banana peel and a shoebox, and the bag was full.
It's overflowing with 3 objects. Yes, no, I know exactly what you were talking about.
And just past the other side of the door to get in the garage, I have all the cardboard recyclables neatly piled up. And it's very simple. Open the door. You don't even have to crush it down. Just put it in the vicinity of the cardboard boxes. I will take it from there.
You can just wing it out the door. Dad will take care of it.
Dad's got it from there. Just don't put it in the garbage pail. That's all I ask.
That's a dad experience. Yes,
I think always in the garbage pail.
Yes.
I don't think I'll ever solve that one.
Yeah, it's funny when the anger comes back at you. That's a pretty reasonable thing. Don't overflow. Don't overflow a garbage can with 3 things. But yeah.
We were talking about Rush recently on one of the shows, and we bounced the idea around if they would ever tour, if they would pick up a drummer. I don't know if we came up with any drummers that we thought might be suitable for that role.
I am not sure. My gut feeling is they should go in a whole new direction and not pick somebody close to the Rush vibe. Kind of do something fresh and new. A new direction with a singer who brings something entirely different. An amazing, intense drummer, but not quite the same as what Neil offered.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a list of who I would maybe like to see play with them. There's a lot of good people. Danny Carey from Tool, maybe. Might be kind of fun.
That's a good pick.
There's a lot of really good, like, fusion-y rock / jazz drummers. Virgil Donati, I don't know if you know who he is.
I don't.
He's amazing. Who else? Marco Miniman, I don't know if you know him. He's pretty incredible, too. You could check him out. There's some great videos of him auditioning for Dream Theater before they landed Mike Mangini. Mm-hmm. Mike Mangini's another great choice, too.
Yeah, they had a good run, and now Portnoy's back, and all is well in the world.
But I don't know who else. I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean, no offense, it wouldn't be like a Lars or anybody like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Keeping with music, we mentioned, I think in episode 1, Jeff Beck's bass player for a little while, Tal Wickenfeld, who I really, really like. I dig her style. She's adorable. I just stumbled onto Spotify. She has a playlist it's called Tal's Bass, and it's all the songs she played on. There's a playlist of, and it goes through. She's played with Prince, Herbie Hancock, Jeff Beck, Keith Urban, Ryan Adams. So you get this huge library of different songs, and she played bass on all of them, which I thought was delightful. I just noticed that the other day. I'm going to dial it up and hear some stuff.
Yeah, I'll take a look for it. I'd love her playing. Spotify's pretty interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, but I've been struggling a bit with it lately. I feel like no matter what I put on, within 5 or 6 songs, it gets me right to what I listen to most, no matter where I start. And it's been a bit frustrating lately because it makes it difficult to stumble upon, new stuff that you haven't heard. Have you noticed
You're
that?
exact. Oh yeah, and the two complaints I have with Spotify, number one is that it seems to narrow it down, and the other thing I believe they're doing wrong, when you select like a radio station, I want to hear stuff similar to this. They should be giving me different artists that have a similar vibe. It seems like a lot of times they just look at the year it came out. It gave you something in the same year, and I'm like, that's not the vibe. That's not the vibe. We talked about this before, where just because it just because it came out in 2002 doesn't mean it's what I want to listen to at the moment.
Yeah.
The funeral dirge that came out in 1995 is not what I want to listen to when I'm checking out something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Spotify's phoning it in. We need to up your game a little bit, Spotify.
I think so.
Exactly.
Hey, if you could pick any band to go on the road with as a tech, who do you think you would enjoy going on the road with?
Oh, you blindside me with these. I gotta think about stuff. Right. So
I'll table this one.
Okay, no. I think it would be a blast. God, it's got to be somebody with a lot of guitars and a lot of pedals. That's kind of up my alley. So
a lot of pedals.
That seems like a nightmare as a tech. Actually, it probably is a nightmare.
Probably is.
I'm gonna change my mind. I want somebody with a wah pedal and a tube screamer, and that's it. They're gonna switch between a Telecaster and a Les Paul. That's it for the whole night.
Does anybody come to mind?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, you look at what people like the Edge from U2 does. That it's masterful with the many guitars, the soundscapes, and everything that goes into that. Joe Satriani, the way he plays, it's just amazing. I mean, that would be a hoot. But as a working guy, speaking of phoning it in, yeah, I want 2 pedals and 1 guitar. That's what I want.
It would be a solo acoustic artist.
That's right. My job is to tune it. Yeah. I tune it and hand it to the guy.
He has 2 pedals, including one of which is a tuner.
That's right. I tune it once. You're on your own for the rest of the night, buddy. I'll be behind the curtains on Instagram.
I'll be over by the bar eating a grilled chicken Caesar salad.
Yes.
You're on your own once you play that first chord, dude. It's all up to you.
Sorry, I am not walking out to take care of this. You click the button and go.
I'm lugging this stuff around. The least you can do is tune it.
How about you? What do you got?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I just thought it was a good question.
You ambushed me and you had no answer yourself.
I don't know. Similar to you, there is some appeal about going on the road with somebody that has, a sizable drum kit, and there's a lot going on. There's a guy that I follow on social media who does a lot of drum teching with Motley Crue. There's a lot that can go wrong during a show. So while that must be incredibly exciting, it's probably got to be a little stressful, even if and when you're at the top of your game and you got everything really dialed in. Maybe my pick is similar to you, like, somebody just, solid 4-piece kit, 6 or 7 microphones, 2 snare drums.
If you are doing Tommy Lee's drums for Motley Crue, you also must check that they're firmly fastened to the platform, which goes over the stage upside down. You don't want to be the guy that launches Tommy Lee from 50 feet above the stage.
On top of making sure every cymbal is screwed down tightly and every drum, you got to make sure that drum throne and the 5-point restraint harness is securely fastened as well.
This is way inside baseball. I'm going to apologize to the listeners right now, but the drummer in my band, Mike, he just bought, DW has a brand new hybrid kit that does electronic and acoustics. It's an acoustic kit that has stuff inside. It runs off of Bluetooth. There are no wires. You dial it in right to the guy's iPad. It is spectacular.
That's thanks to the acquisition that Roland made. So
Roland and DW.
Yeah. Roland and DW.
Reviews are in, and it's awesome.
It's good, huh?
Yeah, It's a
connectivity through Bluetooth, though. I guess the only fear is power, right? Charging that.
I don't know the intricacies if it's powered live or you're running a battery. I'm not really sure how that works. I've
Yeah, it's
not
got to
gotten
be
too deep into
powered.
that yet, but
Yeah.
I assume it has to be. But you don't have all those XLR cables, all those microphones, all that stuff goes away. So
Yeah. We talk about toys frequently, and this one hasn't come up before. And it was those electric, I guess they were referred to as slot cars, like those electric
yeah.
race car sets. Tyco was a big one, and I couldn't remember who else made those. I was very much, and I think you were also a Hot Wheels fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I always loved the Hot Wheels. And over the course of growing up, I did have a couple sets of those. And I remember having, such a great time with those things, despite them constantly flying off the track or losing, connectivity and having to clean the terminals so they would work. Did you have any memories of playing with those?
Holy cow! Yeah, the Tyco thing was amazing. Yeah, so they had a slot down in the middle of the track, so the
Yeah.
car kind of stayed in there, and then there's two little metal strips that were the electrical current that goes through. So when you first started playing with that, you kind of had to dial it in because those things went so fast they would go off, they'd go flying off quickly to realize that actually flying off the track could be also fun, which you started firing at your siblings, jumping over things, and trying to knock stuff over with. So that's the gift that keeps giving.
The first one I had those little slots where the car would fit in. And later I got another one that didn't have those, and it had a feature. There was a button you would hit on it. I don't know how it worked, but it would actually force the car to switch lanes so you could actually pass, which was pretty cool.
Oh,
So you wouldn't be stuck in the same lane the whole time. You'd be able to hit the button and change tracks, slide over
cut
to the
off,
right or to the left. Yeah, you could
cut
cut
off
off.
your cousin.
And that was the idea of it. There was a police car and a regular car, and it was like a chase set. So that was the
Brilliant.
premise. You'd play the cop, and you would try to essentially get him off the track and stop him.
You
But
perfected your pit maneuver and wipe him out.
I had so much fun with those.
Speaking of things flying off, when I was a kid, we did a lot of sledding. Of course, this was pre-internet, so you had to do lots of things. In my neighborhood, I grew up in the Binghamton area, very rolling hills, great hills for sledding. It was 5-minute walk in any direction from my front step was a killer sledding. And I'll never forget a couple streets over, there was this killer steep hill. And of course, we built a jump. And of course, we just kept making it bigger and bigger until one of the one of the neighbor kids was launched and injured. He may or may not be paralyzed. I'm not sure, but I do remember his father coming over angrily and actually destroying our jump in front of us. He walked right over, kicked it, and said, "This is dangerous and reckless," and stomped off. That was interesting and traumatic.
Rich, I don't know where to go from there.
Nobody sleds anymore.
No. And as soon as you had mentioned the sledding story, I thought to myself, I'm not sure if you're going to ask me about, sledding as a kid. And I remember sledding often. Like your story, every single time we went sleigh riding, it always ended early because somebody really got hurt. And it wasn't like somebody was being kind of wimpy. Kids were really getting hurt. Concussions, broken bones.
Yes.
It was violent. It was a violent activity as a kid. And that was the only objective, to build the most massive jump and see who could get over it and hopefully come out the other side okay. It never ended good. Sledding not once ever ended with people shaking hands, high-fiving, heading home for a hot cup of chocolate. It was always a scramble, a frantic Band-Aids, ace
Bloody
bandages,
nose.
or
Yeah.
let me get out of here before their parents come. It always ended with that scenario.
Well, on one side, it's the industriousness of human beings to keep pushing the limits, and the immaturity of 14-year-olds who don't know what a concussion is and why you shouldn't get one.
And then, from sledding, as if that wasn't dangerous enough, it transitioned into tying sleds and sliding devices behind ATVs.
Yep.
And then where I grew up, we upped the ante even more. We would use my friend's brother's pickup truck, and we would tie the sleds behind the pickup truck, and we'd go to the high school, engage that thing in four-wheel drive, and just go tearing around the high school parking lot, because it was kind of a long, windy road. You never had to stop or turn around. You can constantly circle the upper and lower parking lots just in one fluid motion.
Until you ran out of gas.
Yeah, until somebody went flying off into the woods, or you ran out of gas. And I mean, we used to think we were like smart about it, because we would always have one person in the back of the truck as a spotter, and then one or two people in the cab, and some schlub on the sled who was moments away from a hospital visit. You were never more than 15 minutes away from a trip to the hospital.
And all the spotter does, Steve's arm is bent backwards.
Yeah, all they did was, stop. And you couldn't stop too fast, because if you had enough momentum, you and the sled would just shoot right under the truck, and you'd be in more danger.
That's probably worse.
That's probably worse. You would have to bail. You'd have to do like the emergency bail to save yourself.
The good old days.
Yeah. So I guess we did do a lot of sledding as a kid, and maybe that's why there's global warming. For the safety of our own children.
Yes. Sledding is on the upside, sledding is way down.
Sledding. Yes. Global warming is up. Sledding is way down. Sledding injuries are on the decline. There's not a lot in Eastern Long Island. There are not a lot of places to sleigh ride. There is a huge highway that has two very fast westbound lanes and very fast eastbound lanes. And the exit ramp to get off and the loop to get on is a real sharp corner. And that's the only place that there is any type of hill within like a 4-mile radius of where I live. And
it's a man-made ramp.
It's just the ramp, the exit ramp to come off the side road and get on the highway. That has turned into a large sledding attraction. People park their cars all over the side of this major highway and then bring their kids to slide down the hill and hopefully either jump out or come to a stop before they hit the highway where there's oncoming traffic. The expressway, yeah, where cars are traveling in excess of 55 miles an hour.
Wow, that really ups the danger game.
Yeah. So if you can't injure yourself on the hill with the snow and the ramp, you got a second shot to slide into oncoming traffic.
Instead of a mild concussion from a jump, you will definitely die under the wheels of an 18-wheeler.
Definitely die. Those are the options down here.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think that's everything on my short list. I made a Post-it note like you this week.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Too, yeah. I wanted to be slightly prepared. All right, Rich. Oh, wait.
There it is.
Some stuff on there. Nice.
Yeah. I even have, you can see the area I left for notes as we started talking. Yeah, we got nothing.
You left space for any last minute brainstorming.
Turns out there was none.
There was none. I don't know if you recall this, but a long time ago, I think it was while you were working in Michigan. I think I was talking to you on the phone. There was a lot of commotion outside the street where your office was. And I think you had told me Dr. Kevorkian was there. Am I making this up?
I'm struggling to remember.
I'm making this up, right?
No.
I thought you told me Kevorkian was outside where you worked.
I think he made an appearance. Oh, wow. You are dragging something out of the back of my hard drive. Holy cow. Yeah. Well, that was the 90s. That's when he was a big deal, and Michigan is where we all were. Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Something jogged my memory, and I vaguely remember being on the phone with you and you telling me there's a lot of commotion outside down on the street, and, Kevorkian was there. I don't know what kind of appearance he was making, or if he just happened to be there, or I'm not sure what the whole premise was, but I do remember you telling me that.
My closest brush with fame is looking out a window across the street at a crowd of people protesting something, which turned out later to be Dr. Kevorkian.
Based on further analysis, we learned that it was Dr. Kevorkian. Good old Dr. Kevorkian.
I didn't see that coming as a topic today.
Yeah, it was on here. It was one of those things that I kept meaning to ask you about. That I wasn't sure if I was going to just ask you on a random call or maybe put you on the spot on here. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's been on my list here as I scan up and down it.
Just been waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, I was waiting to slip that one in. There was something else, but I'll add it to next show. So please follow, like, and rate. I think that's what they say on all the real professional shows.
Yeah, and spread the word. We got some good stuff going on here. Where else do you hear a conversation about bagels, sledding, and Dr. Kevorkian?
Nowhere. And nowhere has it made less sense.
Take that, Joe Rogan.
Not only do we have the topics, but we can make absolutely no sense of them.
You're actually more confused at the end than when we started talking about it.
When people think of the Cool Dad Shirt podcast, it is synonymous. When they think of Cool Dad Shirt, they think of spitballing.
Winging it is what we do.
Yes. I guess on that note, it's probably a good time to pull the plug on this thing.